anyway, so we decided we wanted to do this video to kind of talk about the Kickstarter and the movie talk and all that good stuff, as opposed to, well, I guess answering some of the bigger questions as well that a lot of people have.
There are a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions. So I've seen that's an interesting time to start cleaning the camera.
This freaking was dusty and it was bothering me. Sorry. OCD.
So I guess one of the biggest questions is like,
what's the movie about?
yeah, what's the movie
It's an
about?
hour and a half long game chasing episode.
Yeah. No, it's exactly what it's not.
No, it isn't.
It's like, you need $100,000 for that? What in the world?
No, actually, I tell people, I say, look, if this was going to be in a 90-minute Game Chasers episode, we wouldn't even need to go to Kickstarter for it. We could do this all on our fucking own. And the only Kickstarter we would do would be a pre-sale literally for that DVD. But
For the actual production.
Yeah, for the actual, but that's not what this is.
We would not be able to do this without Kickstarter.
We have CG graphic scenes and stuff that we want to incorporate.
You're ridiculous on that. That opening scene is just not gonna happen.
Just a little more.
That's
The production involved. Yeah, I mean, there's just no way that we'd be able to just do this on our own.
So
friends.
there are certain things that this movie is going to incorporate that makes it. I hesitate to use the term legitimate, but it really is like something that could be like in an actual theater. It's not us going out. I know I've said this. I feel like I've said this a million times now, but I guarantee there's somebody watching this video for the first time. Their first time hearing this. This is not us going out with a video camera and just shooting this on our own and calling it a movie. I've hired an actual real life cinematographer who's made actual real life movies. Real life, like he was talking about, a graphic artist who's worked on things like Star Trek, the new Star Trek movies, The Walking Dead, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Which let me kind of take this down a direction or make a point to what we're saying. Not that there's not, but one of the big questions is, I guess, why do we need $100,000? Because we're hiring an actual computer graphic guy who has worked on
Walking Dead,
Star Trek.
People in the industry.
Right.
People in the
we
industry.
are hiring a cinematographer, somebody to hold the camera and know what the hell they're doing.
And a professional film camera.
The camera alone, right? What kind of camera?
Probably is it? More than likely a Red Dragon.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know or who do know, you
know
that's. Stranger Things was shot on, a Red Dragon. So,
well, I figure it's a legit, not what we're filming on, or not this.
Yeah, these as great as these cameras are, they're still prosumer cameras that ordinary people can still go out and purchase.
Right.
These Red cameras with all the different lenses could reach upwards to 50,000 to 100,000 easily
if we bought it on our own.
Right.
We're operating an actual boom mic operator, a sound guy.
Sound recording, which is an art in of itself. You got to get that right, because if somebody doesn't record the audio right, and then the whole day is ruined shooting. Then
so keep in mind, we're going to do a lot of the shooting is going to be done here in Texas. So, excuse me. Oh my gosh. All those people need to come here. So guess what? We have to pay for their flights. So that's a cost. We have other people.
Hotels.
Well, I didn't even get there yet. Hang on. But we have other people flying in that are starring in the film. You know what? Should we just say it? You teased a picture the other day. Just say it, right?
Game Dave.
Okay, Game Dave. Game Dave's going to be in the movie. He has to fly here. He needs somewhere to stay, too. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can only have so many people. And it looks very unprofessional to tell the cinematographer, hey, just crash on my couch. Which that's good for Eric and like Game Dave and whatnot, but these other guys...
The guys who have worked on movies.
Exactly.
I think it's at that point he would be like, sorry guys, I'm going to have to bolt on this one.
That's a cost. While in the grand scheme of $100,000, it's not a big cost, but it is a piece of a cost that adds up to bigger things. Another big thing, and this is going to be huge. Like, I'm really concerned with how the hell we're going to try to keep this as contained as possible. The catering budget, the food budget, because everybody has to get fed. Like, that's just standard whenever you're doing any kind of event or movie or anything like that. I know, like with Retropalooza, I feed 50 people, and I try to do it as cheap as possible while making sure people are like, okay, this wasn't just bullshit food. And I spend like $1,000 in the weekend feeding those 50 people. We're going to have to feed...
For a month.
Who knows how many people for a month, multiple times a day on top of that. It's not just, hey guys, how's it going? All right, let's go to work for 6 hours. Oh, let's break for lunch. Here comes McDonald's.
Well, see, I mean, and also, like, we're doing this all legitimately legally. Like, it's a business that has to hire employees essentially, and there are certain things like you have to feed people. Like, it's like the law. Like, you have to. There's certain things. There's certain like legal requirements that we have to meet.
It's called labor laws.
Yes, it's labor laws.
And have lunch breaks and all
and
that
that's
other
the thing
stuff.
The goal is what, $100,000? That's not a lot of money.
It's
honestly,
not for a
when
movie.
you
That's
think
what
about
people
it. For
don't
something
understand and don't realize.
the look and feel that we're going for. That's nothing.
We were actually joking earlier, me, Billy, and Tim. We're like, all right, so Monday is going to be peanut butter and jellies. Tuesday is going to be cold cuts. Wednesday will be leftovers.
And we might be able to get away with that if on set most of the people
are friends. Yes.
With a cinematographer and maybe like a few more. We'll splurge a little bit and give them something.
Yeah. So we'll take them to Chili's and we'll eat peanut butter.
We'll
and
eat
jelly.
I will eat peanut butter and jelly
Absolutely.
sandwich all fucking day long. I'm fine with that. But yeah, the other guys might have to splurge a little bit more.
Anyhow, it's dealing with the why so much money. At the end of the day, it's not so much money. That's the thing. What else? We got flights, we got hotels, we got rental of equipment. We have to pay employees. You got to remember too. All these people are probably essentially the same thing as Screen Actors Guild. They're in some kind of union, so they're gonna have to get paid. Like, that's just the law. Besides, you have to pay motherfucker for their work anyways.
And there's also a lot of just like business and red tape stuff that you have to deal with too.
We're gonna have to hire attorneys. We're gonna have to have
attorneys,
contracts written up,
legal stuff,
right? All that stuff.
There has to be insurance. Because if somebody gets hurt on the set, that could be that could bankrupt everything.
We're gonna have to pay for permits when we're filming. Like, me, I'm just like, just easier to say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, but they really can't do that, honestly.
You can get away with it, but you're rolling the dice. You're
For
trying,
sure rolling the
because
dice.
there are certain movies and they'll go out and guerrilla shoot, and they'll just it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right.
A lot of times. But I think the stuff that we do just are in the script. We should probably just go ahead and do it the right way because it just makes the most sense.
No, for sure. But see, here's the thing too. Like, excuse me, god damn. With all this is going to come like public notices and whatnot. If we need to be in a neighborhood filming, or let's say we're in downtown Dallas filming for whatever reason, and we got to block off a street.
Yeah.
The city has to know about this. We can't just have like the dongo on the end going, hang on a minute.
And there are several scenes in the script that do require us blocking off a street.
I mean, so there's all that. Like, and this is the point of this video is to tell you guys, give you an insight into all the stuff that we have thought about, and maybe the average Joe wouldn't think about when it comes to a film. I know there's a lot of people out there who hate us, don't want to see this happen. It's just the way it is. We get a lot of hate. Sometimes I sit here and go, God damn, does anyone get as much hate as we do? But yeah, Pat does, Wood does, James gets a lot of bullshit, AVGN. But anyhow, all this stuff costs money, and all this is part of this $100,000 or $100,000 that we're trying to raise, and that's without even. I'm not getting paid. Billy's not getting paid, and Billy's going to be editing it, working for free on this thing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, our hope is that
we're not getting paid on the front end, so none of
like,
this 100K is going into our pockets. We're not gonna, the money ain't gonna come in, and we're gonna, Billy's not gonna go. All right, here's my 5. Jay, here's your 5. Melvor, here's your 5. No,
Kickstarter
Eric
still has to take their cut,
and Kickstarter takes their cut. They take
when it's all said
8%.
and done, they're taking like almost 10%.
Yeah, and again, I'm walking away with 0. And I'll be doing way more than just being in the movie. I'm going to be doing, a lot of the getting hotels booked and getting catering booked and all this other kind of shit. Like, I'll be doing all that kind of stuff. You're directing the damn film. Both of you guys are co-directors on it. Along with, obviously, we're all working on the second draft of the script right now while this is being filmed. I mean, not like...
Yeah. See,
there's
just so much that goes into it. I kind of explained this part and also in another video, but things that people don't really realize that need to be done, like the script. As soon as the script's finalized, you have to hire you don't have to, but it just makes life so much easier. Hiring an assistant director, first assistant director. It got tongue twisted there. And what they do is they take the script and they break it down and they make the most efficient schedule based on what particular characters are in each particular scene, and they have special programs and they go to school specifically to do that one job.
Right.
It's a skill set in and of itself.
For example, let's say Game Dave is in 10 scenes. Just an example. I'm not saying he is in 10. The assistant director will go, okay, Game Dave's, we can get him here on this date. We can film all 10 scenes in like 3-day span, and then he's gone. He's home. We don't got to worry about him anymore.
Right.
And that's how movies are filmed out of order.
Yeah, that's why you may start with the freaking middle of the film, and then because it just makes the most sense to film it that way. And so that's what they'll do. They'll come up with the best schedule, so I just know that if we tried to come up with that schedule and do that on our own, we'd be fucking ourselves. And so I'm trying to not.
No,
trying to keep
we'd be hemorrhaging money unnecessary though.
Like we fly somebody in to shoot, and then they go, "Oh, see you later," and then we'll look at page 18. And, oh,
right?
Son of a bitch.
Page 18.
Yeah.
Page 18. Dave, can you come back? Yeah.
And that way, if you hire the assistant director, then I have someone to fucking yell at whenever they screw that part up. But that's one thing that, and it's just little things like that. But it's a lot of little things and a lot of big things that add up to making that total of like what we're asking for so big. And that's just because the story that we've set out to do, I think, is something that it resonates with us, and it probably resonate a lot with you. And we just think it's really fun. It's a fun story. It's a road trip movie. So
which actually brings us to the most asked question.
Right.
What is this actually about? Y'all haven't really said much.
It's a road trip movie. So it's how do I explain this? It's almost like an alternate version of Game Chasers, an alternate reality in a way.
Semi-autobiographical.
It's a lot of it is pulled from real life, but it's almost like a retelling story of a prequel of the Game Chasers in a way. It's us, but it's not us.
This
if
taking
that makes
aspects
any
of our
sense.
childhood,
in
particular, I think.
Right.
And we went through, because we've been talking to somebody came up to us and said, "Hey, let's do a movie," and this was over 2 years ago, but we were just kind of like, we didn't know exactly what we wanted to do, and we certainly didn't want to rush into anything, and we threw around a lot of ideas, and I didn't really super get excited about it until the idea of what we're doing now kind of popped in my head. And it really kind of just stemmed from personal experiences. And I think that's where the best stories come from, is from personal experiences, something you're connected to, and then you just expand upon it. So the personal experience that I had, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too terribly exciting, but it's something a lot of us went through and have gone through and can relate to. But you take it, and in movie fashion, you expand upon it and make it bigger and grander.
What that is, or maybe just a little.
Okay,
insight?
so I can give you list some hints. Most of us grew up with the NES, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the NES. We grew up with something that we connect to better memories back into the past.
Depending on your age, it could be Super Nintendo, it could be
Nintendo
64.
Exactly. And so this is essentially what happened to me growing up was you attach yourself to that, and then it kind of goes away for a while, and then you look back on it and it reminds you of things, and that gets you back into that world. And so this is kind of a retelling of how we got back to that world, but in a goofy sort of Game Chasers, what you've come to know and love on the channel sort of way, where Jay and I go and we track down that childhood relic that we used to have a lot of fun with, and we connect to it for certain reasons.
I think if you're connecting the dots, I think
it's an NES.
It's an NES. I wasn't going to say it. If I say it, you can edit it out. But basically,
the clues are there on the Kickstarter. There's an NES cake. There's the big prize on the reward system is the NES.
Boom, there it is. Right. so basically, look, me and Billy are kids playing this NES. We grow up, and something sets us on a journey, and this is the road trip part of it, to go find this NES again. This specific particular NES, not just any old NES, but Billy's NES.
And there's reasons for it, and of course it sets us off on a goofy adventure with paranormal and all kinds of like stupid things, but still grounded in reality.
Not over the top.
It's still grounded in reality. But UFOs and Bigfoot are real, so that's not saying much.
Right.
That's what we do.
But there it is. There's kind of in a very still vague nutshell. Me and Billy are going after something that we used to play a lot as children. That's pretty much what it is. And that kind of mimics like how we got into game chasing and making the show. Is we're going after all that old that we used to play and love back in the day, and like you said, reminded us of simpler times.
And it's going to be a lot of comedy, but it's not all going to be like just fart jokes and stuff.
The best way I can explain this is I want my son to be able to watch this movie without his mom going, "Dude, what the were you thinking?" You know what I mean? Like, I would never let him play Grand Theft Auto. I would never let him watch, because I don't think he could handle it at his age, like something super gruesome like Exorcist or something like that. Like if you went home and was like, "Yo, I watched Exorcist, I can't sleep," I'd be in deep. If you went home at the same time saying, "Yo, I watched Revenge of the Nerds with Dad and there was tits flopping all over the place," I'm in deep shit. You know what I'm saying? So this movie is like, I want my son to be able to watch it. He can go home, tell his mom he watched it, liked it, and she's like, "Well, let me sit down and watch this," and she won't even say anything to me about it, good or bad. Just, "Okay, cool, you watched it."
So another thing I've actually been seeing a lot of people say or talk about is why do we got to use Kickstarter? Why don't we just go out and get investors? As if going to get investors was as easy as going to the investor store, going down aisle 19 and picking up some investors and checking out. Okay, so are you gonna go and tell Super Troopers 2, who crowdsource things on Kickstarter?
You're gonna go tell Broken
them?
Lizard, right?
Yeah, like if they can't get something funded, what makes you think that we could?
Perfect example.
Exactly. And then another thing, yes, you can get investors, and I know I know you said it in the other video, we have investors. I wouldn't really call them investors in terms of they're not actually looking to get a return from their money. They're just they're wanting to just back something, and it's certainly not something that we would do if they want any sort of creative control. And that's what a lot of investors are going to want, is some creative control. If somebody's going to throw down half of what it costs to make a movie, you damn right they're going to want some say in how it's made,
and that's reasonable.
It's reasonable. It's completely understandable.
But see,
and then we had an issue with that. Somebody was wanting to throw down potentially a lot of money, but they wanted to make a lot of changes in the script, which I completely understand. If their vision doesn't mesh with ours, then fine, I get that. There's nothing wrong with that, but we had to turn that down and say,
we walked away from it, and trust us, it was a very, very large sum of money.
Yes, it was a very large, but I wasn't happy with that direction. I was extremely. It was very nerve-wracking on me when I heard that, because you hear somebody saying, "Here, we can make this happen, but this is what we want to do," and it's like you see that and you go, "Wow, you could make that happen, but we don't want to make this change." So it was like very nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, we want to make what we want to make.
The other thing is, it's not like we're asking for money for nothing. You know what I mean?
That's definitely something I need to get into.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Right at $15. At $15, you get the digital download. And that's what the future is going towards, is people not wanting to actually go out and physically pick something up. And now there's a lot of people who do, and that's based on, the Kickstarter and the physical Blu-ray sales that we've been doing. But at $15, you get the movie. We're not going, "Give us $15. Everyone give us $15. Thank you. Your name goes in the credits." And then when it comes out, "Oh, by the way, you can purchase this for $15 more." That's not what we're doing. So essentially what you're doing is you're pre-ordering the movie. You're pre-ordering, and if you know Kickstarters and Indiegogos we've done in the past, we always deliver. We have always delivered on, we've done four seasons, 4 box sets of the Game Chaser show. We've never not delivered. We've always delivered on everything that we've promised. I know a lot of people are turned off with Kickstarter because a lot of projects don't deliver. That's not us, and our reputation precedes us on that one, I think.
I think we've proven ourselves.
I think we've proven ourselves
4 to 5 years,
correct,
but by not only delivering what is expected, but delivering above, I believe. And that's not just me saying that because I feel like we're tooting our own horn or anything. This is just everything that I hear from people who have bought, who have said that. And to expand upon the whole, if you donate, you can get the movie. That in the end hurts us. Like, it hurts us. Like,
it costs us money.
It costs us money because we have to go and get these things made, and we have to. And not only that, we lose out on the opportunity for you guys who would clearly be interested in buying this thing, who have donated to it, to sell it to you, because we've already sold it to you. So many Kickstarters will ask for the money to get something made. They'll get it made, and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, by the way, now you have to go and buy again, or buy it to be able to experience it, to watch it." Some people do that.
Or do a ridiculous perk amount where you finally get a copy like $150 perk.
You know, I've seen that. I've
Yes,
seen.
I've seen
I,
that.
I saw. This Kickstarter wasn't hastily made. This thing, I started researching this around April of last year, and I first started with an Indiegogo page, and then I transferred it all to Kickstarter. But I was looking on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and I saw so many movie campaigns where you didn't get a Blu-ray until like $80, $90, $100, and
Yeah.
I saw one was like a $250. You finally got the Blu-ray. I understand why they do that, but I can't justify that. You know, that's just
Like I wouldn't expect y'all to do that. You know what I mean? Like if we had our first physical item was at $250, I would expect everyone to go, "Hey, y'all motherfuckers are crazy. This not bullshit." But that's not what we're doing. We're doing 50. We're doing the cost of the Blu-ray. Obviously, we have production costs on that. Then we got to ship it. So it's like Billy said. Like, yeah, even though we're asking for this $100,000. Well, how much of it's going to go into the production, just the DVDs, the Blu-ray, just to make sure you guys get it, and the shipping. That's a large chunk. Shipping's expensive as it's going to cost more to ship all this stuff than it will to make all this stuff. That's fact.
I've heard people say that, can I go ahead and buy a Blu-ray later? Will you have Blu-rays available later? Yes, but they won't be the Kickstarter extended limited edition that we have going here. We wanted to give people that wanted to give the money up front and basically pre-order something a little extra. That's the thing though. If you guys don't make this thing happen, and there won't be Blu-rays in order to buy later. If this movie gets funded, it'll get made, and then there will be Blu-rays down the road, but there will be cheaper versions, and they won't have as much stuff on them as these will have on these.
So the simple answer is yes, you will be able to buy this after the Kickstarter is done, but it'll be a different version. You won't get all the extras and whatnot like that.
Yeah. And I've heard people also say, like, what happens if you don't get the goal? This campaign is set up to where we do not get a dime unless we hit the goal.
It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. Even if you only have $2 or just want to do $2, don't think that doesn't matter anything. It does. I think people get into this mentality of like, well, I mean, everyone else, that's a good idea, but everyone else is going to do it, and I don't have to do it. It's kind of like voting, like, what's my vote going to matter?
Right.
Everyone else is voting. Well, then everyone else ends up thinking that exact same thing, and nothing ever gets done. No, I mean, if this is something, if you want this movie to happen, and you want us to see it happen, and you only have $2, feel free to put that in. That make it happen. That's going to help more than you think. Not only from just having $2 extra that might pay for a few extra tacos for catering, but it also will make you one whole backer. Okay, and that cannot be stressed enough how important that is. The more backers a project has, the more Kickstarter could potentially promote it. The more opportunities we could potentially have to take this to somebody who may have deep pockets and say, look, you ain't getting any say in the movie, but you want to throw a few. You want your logo in the back.
Something product placement.
If they see that there's a lot of interest in something, and the way to gauge interest in something isn't necessarily the dollar amount, because one person could throw down $30,000. You don't know. It's how many people are backing this thing, and right now we're over 600 people. That's good for 2 weeks, but the higher we can get that number, the better overall the Kickstarter is going to be, and the more successful it could potentially be, and just help overall. And if you donate $2, hell, if you even do like $1, you can do $1 with no perk whatsoever. Even if you do that, you're one whole backer, and each backer helps. When I first came up with the first draft of this thing, things that were going through my head were Fanboys, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, 80s comedies, Tommy Boy, Dumb and Dumber, of course. So yeah, just different stuff like that. So I mean, if that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of the tone, I guess, or the idea, the thought process of making this thing. We want it to fall in line with all those different things, but honestly, we'll just settle for something a little above the quality of the room, I guess.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
We'll make you laugh. We'll make you cry. Hopefully in a good way, not because it's horrible. It'll.
That first scene's gonna be great.
Oh my god! I think if he can do it without being like, guys, I need an extra $10,000. Cool.
What's great though is I was really, really worried about that scene simply because I was like, when I first wrote it, I was like, all right. The only thing I think that I was like, okay, what this might not work is not the CG, but the fact that we didn't have access to. I guess I can say it. I'll just say it because I'm not saying what it is. But let them speculate. We'd have to build cockpits, actual real life cockpits. But. Luckily, my dad, being ties with the military, has a friend who has literal cockpits that he said that we can use.
So basically, get a big ass green screen.
Yeah.
And we jump in the cockpits.
Yeah.
So this could actually happen.
Yes. For free. So there you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Then there's that, and yeah. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching and stuff.